So there was some discussion on once a week insulin, and they compared it to the U100 glargine. Do you think once a week insulin is the future, and will it transform therapy in type 1 and type 2, though this was on type 2? So your take on it, sir. It's on mute, sir. Dr. Sethi, it's on mute. You'll have to unmute.
Basal insulin has evolved from twice daily injections of NPH, bar detamere, bar glargine to degludec and U300. So the convenience of the patient to take a basal shot once a day is here to stay now. If like the GLP-1 analogs, it can be administered once in a month, once in a week, then why not? I think it's the popularity of once a week GLP-1 analog, even prior to the CVOT trial, we had some discussion on that earlier, was because it is to be taken once in a week. So everyone likes to, fill it, shut it, and forget it. Therefore, if it is there and truly it's replicable, it is ugly days, then it would be a very good addition. You will have once in a week GLP-1 analog, once in a week basal insulin. I think it's a good concept, and they showed HbA1c lowering about the same. I think 1.3 versus 1.1, and I'm very poor at numbers, but it was what it was. And then we come back to the gold standard again. Everyone starts comparing with HbA1c, and everyone compares with glargine, not with degludec, not with U300. So I think it's a good thing. If it is there, why once a week? Why not once in a long time ago? There was some work on insulin which works for 90 days. I don't know what happened to that. But that was from our own country, and nothing happened to that afterwards. But I think it is going to be a good molecule, and we need to look forward to that.
Thank you, Dr. Sethi. Dr. Sanjay Kalda, your take on once a week insulin, will it transform therapy in future?
It will. I agree with what Dr. Sethi has said. The eras of weekend therapy or DOT, directly observed therapy. And this kind of insulin will be very helpful for people who are living in nursing homes, people who don't need too much of a tight control. Even if they do need tight control, we can always add orals, and we've already discussed them in the webinar. There are so many types of oral drugs to choose from today. So it will actually revolutionize care. I just hope that the cost is affordable for the majority of Indians.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Sujay Ghosh, your take on it. It's on mute. You're on mute.
So this is a long-acting insulin which essentially has a C20 diacid attached to it, and there are 3 substitutions as well, which essentially makes this bind to albumin. So it circulates for a long time, and the 2 substitutions that we are talking about makes it resistant to the action of degradation. So that's how it binds for a longer period of time, acts like a basal insulin with a half-life of about 196 hours. Now, it will mean that, as Dr. Sanjay was saying, as part of a basal supported oral therapy, great. But otherwise, if you're thinking of a basal bolus, the bolus injections are still there, or Afrezza, or whatever else you want to use in future. That's there. And this particular trial was looking at people who are treatment naive. They were either on metformin plus minus DPP-4 inhibitor requiring insulin, and they were added on this. So essentially it tells you that at least at this point of time, with those requiring relatively lower doses of insulin as basal insulin, somewhere around 20 units, that's where this is still working. Whether this will work with higher doses, because I'm being greedy, I want more evidence, that we don't know. But I'm hopeful that in future it will work. But having said that, again, all of those questions of insulin stacking, what happens to the variability, those are things. It's very, very early days. They actually presented 4 posters on this particular molecule. This is a product of Novo Nordisk. 4 of them were produced. One looking at, the phase 2 bit of PKPD data. This was the phase 3 data looking at non-inferiority with glargine 100. There was some safety study data as well, which were presented at this ADA. But overall, looks great and looks very promising. At least even if we have a once daily basal insulin, a once weekly basal insulin, I think it's going to be great.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Dr. Shashank Joshi, your final take on this?
I think I agree with everybody. It is a hope. I don't think it is a hype. We need more data. Type 2 diabetes probably is here to stay. There might be a day when there can be a fixed ratio combination of a once a week GLP-1 with a once a week basal insulin. That's possible. We have the oral semaglutide coming up from the same stable, so that's possible. I think that there is some ongoing data on phase 1 trials on a basal patch that might be more attractive. But what Dr. Sujay was highlighting are some very important things that, once it is in the, what is insulin doing? We are using the subcutaneous tissue space as a reservoir, and as a pharmaceutical reservoir when you use it, and when it is there for a long time, it is based on the albumin. Albumin has a half-life of 21 days. And if you talk to some of the scientists from Novo Nordisk, which I had some fortune of interacting 6 months back, they were saying that they actually want to develop a once in 21 days the albumin half-life insulin. That's really far-fetched. But I think once a week, anything which is going to be once a week is going to be always attractive. But as Dr. Bipin Sethi underlined, that our patients are used to once a day, and therefore whether it will stack, whether it will sustain, we don't know. But if it really goes by what was presented, I think this is a game changer. And not only for type 2, we would love to see the data for type 1, because there it could, in lower doses, which is what type 1s need, it could truly have an impact there. And then if you have some of these oral insulins which were also presented at the ADA, Oramed had a paper, and in type 2 again, a once a week basal oral insulin, or maybe Afreza, as what Sujay was saying, I think we have something coming up there. But I still feel we are at least 2 years away from its application in the modern world, because we will need much more data on this. And if you see that whether it will be reality, Sanjay rightfully said that it should be affordable, accessible. I think we are, at least from India's perspective, we are at least 4 years away from it. But it's very exciting. So I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone here. For me, it took me back to my 10th standard. This was like a last minute revision which you do before going for an exam. So you all condensed the whole 3.5 days, 4 days of ADA into a 1 hour session. We spoke right from prevention to surrogate markers to cardiovascular outcomes and therapies. So fantastic session. This is what brilliance brings out. Fantastic interaction. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Joshi, Dr. Kalra, Dr. Ghosh, and Dr. Sethi.